Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the showdown between the Empire and Tzeentch here on the battle for Itza. It's going to be Balthazar GELT facing off against KAIROS Fateweaver, and this actually took place in the tournament I had last Friday. It was one of my earlier round matches, and I thought it was quite a bit of fun. We get to see a lot of Tzeentch warriors, as well as the SUNMAKER and Balthazar GELT himself. Lots of neat stuff. Lots of scary Tzeentch warriors. Now, historically in Warhammer 2, the Empire did always kind of struggle to deal with armor in my experience. You have Outriders, but again, they're not very good because of the shielded warriors. You have Grenade Launchers, which does some armor-piercing damage, not a ton, but it can clear them out. But, you know, your on-paper options, right, are someone like Karl Franz, like Boris, like Handgunners. Magic, of course. Pit of Fun is obviously, like, if you really want to play, like, the ultimate sweatiest build, you probably wouldn't bring Balthazar GELT. You would probably go with, like, Pit of Fun and just, like, be spamming it on all their armored infantry. And, you know, over the course of a game, 3 Pit of Shades will basically, if cast effectively, will kill 3 Chaos Warriors. But, you know, we gotta have some fun every now and then. Now, as far as the build goes, and Greatswords too, but Greatswords, in my experience, if you try to send Greatswords into a Tzeentchian line, for example, they're just gonna get obliterated by the shooting. So it is Spearmen with shields in the front. Obviously, Tzeentch has shooting. Crossbows are pretty good against all the Tzeentch DACA, and honestly, they can put some decent damage into the things like Forsaken, and Chaos Spawn pushes are also very popular, so I figured that crossbowmen would be a good choice. The reason why I went with them is because of their range, and you know, the anti-large on the Huntsman is nice and the stock, but crossbowmen have, in my experience, better DPS if it's against something that isn't like a large target, right? So if we're shooting at like pinks and blues, so that's why I went with those boys. Sigmar Sun's in the back, and we do also have the SUNMAKER. So should be fun. We're going to make the sun rain, have some fun here for the Tzeentchian army. It is KAIROS. He's got Pendulum, the old school OP ability, which isn't OP anymore, and he does also have Blue Fire, and SUNMAKER is going to be, I guess, a really good answer against the armor. SUNMAKER is just crazy good. It's hands down one of the best units, if not the best unit on the Empire roster in domination mode, so. Chaos Warriors in the front. In the secondary line, we do have a bunch of blues and some pinks. So pretty cool combo. No spawn. I was very grateful for that, but I felt like I was somewhat adequately prepared for that. Now at the back, we do get a Blue Fire. Nice play from my opponent here. It is going to be potentially killing one of the artillery crews. I can't quite tell. It looks like this SUNMAKER is toasted, yeah, because when I mouse over it, it says only 3 models, and I believe there are 4 initially. So it is going to be taking away 25% of the DPS from the SUNMAKER there. So pretty good cast. Now, as far as the actual DACA goes, we do get some nice shooting going here into the Chaos Warriors. Those Chaos Warriors getting a little bit beat up. And KAIROS Fateweaver are going to be cackling in the backfield here, but we do summon in the silver bullets to start shooting. And thankfully, I did see it right away, so I was able to dodge it. But you got to be really quick on the draw, and it still does a ton of damage, especially against these type of units. So Balthazar GELT's on the hunt. We're hunting down the chicken. A little bit of a goose chase here, so he's flying as we get some nice shooting up in the sky. SUNMAKER going to be unleashing some holy salvos of Sigmar here onto the shielded Tzeentchian warriors who are moving up to the middle. See how they do, and certainly getting pounded a little bit. Chicken lost his shields, but again, a lot of Tzeentch players are just going to kind of run away until their shields are back, which is certainly a good idea. But now he's going to be pressing up onto the points, and up on the top, I do summon some Free Company Militia to go try and grab Objective 1. I'm like, it's usually if you're like a shooting faction like the Empire, you're not going to be winning on the objectives initially. You value trade to beat them up a little bit, and then you wrestle the objectives from them. That's pretty much the standard Empire playstyle. Now, we are seeing Mass Furies come out, so my opponent did save up for 2 or 3 Furies at once, which is a very, very good choice. It makes it much harder for me to react, because I was spending money on other things. I don't perceive the Furies as a threat. It's a very strong tactic. So 1 crossbowman here going to be getting crumped. I was able to rally an Empire Knight, so we have an Empire Knight coming out, and some Spearmen and Flagellants going to be pulling the crossbowman back here, while the other side is going to be secured by the Empire Knight. So a little bit of sloppy play on my part, honestly. Letting the crossbowman get, like, sit that close. I should have had him way more deep set, but I got greedy. I wanted to shoot early, and I did pay the iron price a little bit. Now, here we do get the final transmutation going down. I think there was some GELT magic. You can see the big goose is still getting shot by the old silver bullets up in the sky, so the goose is going to be juking about. SUNMAKER still generating great value. I've switched onto the back line, so now it's going after the Chaos Furies and some of these backfield units, really putting a lot of hurt on them. And one of the Fury units does get broken down. The other one gets hammered by the Empire Knights. And I still have silver bullets, and some of the crossbow units did get broken, but they still have a somewhat high model count. You can see they have a 68 of 90, so it's really not terrible. They'll be moving up. Now, this is very unfortunate for me, moving Flagellants into armored units as well as blues. Doesn't feel good at all, but I was trying to hold the flank. Obviously, I have shooting back here. I have my silver bullets. I have things I want to protect, so really trying my best to do that. And here comes the shooting of Sigmar, the silver bullets unleashing into the KAIROS. And that was one of the big things. I was like, you know, starting to... I usually am never able to kill KAIROS, but it was starting to like feel like I might have a chance of actually bringing him down. Grenade launchers will be good at clearing out Chaos Warriors. Not like super quick. If it were lightly armored infantry, it'd be way quicker, but in this case, it's not terrible. And here, the Screamers of Tzeentch going to be attacking my Empire Knights. Feels pretty bad. I do get some Spearmen on the back, and a little bit of crossbow fire is going to be overlapping in, while the SUNMAKER continues to generate big value. Pendulum in the back goes down on silver bullets, but you can see, unlike Pit of Shades, it's actually a bounce spell and doesn't just like one-shot them into oblivion. And the Flagellants are hunting down the Chaos Warriors of Tzeentch, but good to play from my opponent. Going to be pushing those Tzeentch Warriors past, trying to shut down my shooting. But I think in the end, Sigmar gonna give it to you. And these Chaos Warriors losing a lot of models to the grenades. Big Tzeentchian army ability going down, so they did cast enough spells and do enough damage with magic to get the Tzeentch army ability, which basically nukes my my backfield here. So crossbowmen and spearmen are going to be on the run, ladies and gentlemen. And we are in a little bit of danger. So now I'm going to be rallying out my second wave of Sigmarites. And swordsmen aren't bad. They have 32 and 32 for combat stats. And considering the Sunmaker has done a good job beating up much of the Chaos core here, and I still have Flagellants and, you know, Sigmar Suns fighting, I'm so used to just my Sigmar Suns dying instantly to Pit of Shades. But man, this game, it's been really, really nice not playing against it, I gotta say. Outriders with grenade launchers going to be eyeing these Chaos Warriors of Tzeentch with halberds, so they're going to be coming to secure the objective. Empire really does like to steal side points using like heavy cavalry and Empire Knights and Zentler's Reichsguard, things like that. So getting the Chaos Warriors with halberds there to kind of defend that is a very, very smooth play. And up here we do have Free Company Militia who will be doing glorious battle with Marauders of Tzeentch. You can see some nice shooting coming out from the Pistol Boys, but unfortunately the Marauders of Tzeentch will just objectively win in combat. They have greater HP, they have Protoss shields, which I guess the shields are down now. There's going to be some Screamers of Tzeentch coming in as well, really to seal the deal, but hopefully they'll be able to hold until maybe I can get some reinforcements there and scrap the objectives back. Now KAIROS in danger. He got a little bit close and the goose is cooked, baby. Down he goes. The Chaos Chicken has fallen. Balthazar Gelt was about to cast Final Transmutation on him, and Tzeentch doesn't really have spell resist on a lot. They used to have it on Forsaken when the game launched, but that was removed. But yeah, they don't have a ton of spell resist, so you can still do good work with magic against Tzeentch. That is for sure. Over here we got Empire Knights and Spearmen, and a lot of units that have kind of broken, and I've done a very poor job of getting them back, but I will be noticing that here in a second. And we do get the Zentler's Reichsguard, one of my favorite units on the Empire, super badass, and these guys are going to be lancing their couches, couching their lances. Holy shit, they're going to be moving in there, getting a big charge, hit the Screamers right in the face, and they do come in to liberate the Free Company Militia, and there's few things more epic in this game than Empire Heavy Cav coming in to rescue these bad boys. So we do get the Marauders and the Screamers kind of trapped up here. Maybe we have a chance of winning this, but with the Free Company actually breaking, we might actually end up losing that too. Now in the middle, done enough damage to the Chaos Warriors to we're able to get some State Troopers on the objective. We have some Empire Knights charging into the back of these Chaos Warriors. Not going to be a ton of damage. You know, Empire Knights have pretty terrible armor piercing, but if we could just wear them down, you know, just molecule by molecule here, it's all going to be adding up. So Gelt is alive, and you know Tzeentch is leaderless, and without the Tzeentchian chicken, it's going to be a little bit tough for them. We do have some shooting coming forth. So we have the Death Jacks. Unfortunately, the Silver Bullets got caught in combat by some Chaos Warriors, and we do have these units rallying back here. So I did finally notice some of these. It's tricky. The Empire, much like the Skaven, often has a ton of like breaking units, so it's a lot to keep track of. And I would say like Empire and Skaven are probably two of the, you know, not like horrific, but two of the weaker factions in domination mode overall. Like if you're playing at the highest level versus like really tuned sweaty players who are going to be using Pit of Shades every game and really just these optimized builds, like Empire and Skaven are very tough. Obviously in the mid levels of tournaments and lower levels they can work a little bit better, but man oh man, it is a tricky one for sure. So Spearmen getting up on the point, and if you're looking at the values right now, currently the Sons of Sigmar are down by quite a bit. Tzeentch has a lot. We have a little bit of time to wrestle the objectives though. We get a lot of State Troopers here, we get this high ground objective, and we see Marauders coming out, but Marauders should be relatively easily countered by some Empire Knights. Like, you know, they're lightly armored, and these are no mere Empire Knights. Either Zentler's Reichsguard, so as I said earlier, they should be able to lance those couches. That is for sure. So they'll be moving into the Marauders, hopefully doing some damage. And now I just need to wrestle the side point. Need to get that triple cap here. Obviously, Tzeentch is running out of steam a little bit. You can see the Sunmaker and all the Daka and the grenade launching. Grenade launchers are another unit for the Empire, which I just think is absurd. They're very, very good. I mean, they have their hard counters, right? Like any sort of range from your opponent that has more range than them, hard counters them. Any sort of skirmish cav counters them. They're a very balanced unit, right? Like they're very good at what they do, but they have an objective counter that really just shuts them down. So moving up, Chaos Warriors battling the Sigmar Suns. Not too many Sigmar Suns left, but you know, they're going to be going to the bitter end with their nice combat stats. And the Chaos Warriors with halberds for sure will just crush them. They have 100 armor and are just very, very meaty. We're going to be leaving some swordsmen and some spearmen with shields in the middle, as my opponent does summon in some pink horrors, as well as some Marauders of Tzeentch to support. I have some crossbowmen in reserve. And look at one thunderous charge from the Zentler's Reichsguard. It basically just took these Marauders down to like half health. I mean, these type of shock cav, like Griffin Legion, oh my god, does that guy just have like a power mustache? I don't know, I thought his visor was like a mustache on his face, and I was like, holy shit, that is substantial. But the Marauders get broken, and you can see the power of these type of shock cav, right? Very, very good. Incredibly strong. Now, back here, we do get some troopers moving across. So swordsmen and spearmen moving on over to objective number 3. Grenade launcher is going to be hammering into the Chaos Warriors, and we should be able to get the triple cap on him here. It's a little bit scary. Some Marauder horsemen are coming out, but really Tzeentch is just kind of grasping here, trying to get back on the objectives wherever they can. Losing the big giant chicken is for sure brutal, and you can see some classic Empire friendly fires. My Hellstorm rocket battery did crush these pinks and these Chaos Warriors, but it also did like a massive amount of HP to my spearmen. So you really got to watch out if you are a Sunmaker enjoyer or a Hellstorm rocket battery enjoyer, more specifically Sunmaker, because it does so much damage. You can really, really get wrecked by that if you're not careful. So here comes another volley. Come on, baby. Hit the right target this time. I did see it during the game, I think, and I was like, oh, and they still managed to friendly fire these retreating swordsmen, which is absolutely hilarious. But there they go, and there is the Chaos Warriors, -11 leadership. They're like, screw this shit. Tzeentch didn't give us guns. Why not? Chaos Gods, give us some more powerful tools, please. Ziltner's Reichsguard going to be maneuvering about. We do get some Screamers, and unfortunately, Balthazar Gelt did get caught by the Marauder Horseman. I was trying to get a big nuke spell over on this blob here, and the Marauder Horseman popped out of the spawn and just javelined him in the face. So that was very tough, and Tzeentch might have an opportunity to move up here, but Sterling's Revenge have come out, and we do have some shielded swordsmen, and swordsmen won't trade terribly into Marauders. They do a better melee defense. Marauders typically win that fight, but it's not the worst trade in the world, honestly, for the price point. Marauders have more HP, they have Protoss shields, they have better, melee attack. I believe their weapon strength is similar, honestly. The stat differential isn't that big. So if you are an Empire player, you can definitely get away with using swordsmen into Marauders. It's going to be a slightly losing fight for you in my experience, but not the end of the world. Now, Tzeentch moving into the middle. The score is very, very close, but we do have the dreaded triple cap on them. Side objective is pretty well controlled. It looks like some Chaos Warriors here are going to be battling against the remnants of my Spearmen, which should be able to defeat them. And the Sunmaker, it's back for round 2. So earlier I did unsummon it, or it was actually killed. I can't quite remember. Something happened. I think it was an unsummon. So it's back here, and clearly it's doing a very good job cleaning up the Tzeentchian forces. So we do see the pinks on the run here, and the Marauders of Tzeentch taking quite a bit of damage. Sterling's Revenge should be good against Screamers as well. They do pack a lot of armor piercing. That's kind of one of their gimmicks, and obviously Tzeentch isn't like super armored in terms of the demons. They do have I think bringing some armor piercing against Tzeentch is necessary though. Like their warriors are very cost effective. I think Tzeentch warriors of all the Chaos Gods are some of my favorite because they're really resilient against magic cheese. Their shields absorb a lot of the magic damage typically, like initially in the early game, and they can also regenerate that. So Tzeentch has like healing, right? Like a lot of people don't really like register that, but Tzeentch is a really strong healing faction with those shields. Village, of course, can do some work. I actually think Village wouldn't be terrible against Empire, like just kind of parking him in the middle. Although, he's a little bit susceptible to being picked apart and kited by the Empire because they could just avoid him and play the other two objectives. Nonetheless, Marauders of Tzeentch are going to be moving on to this point, and they have a little bit of capture weight. In response, I do summon in some Empire Knights in the back. We got some Idle Spearmen that certainly need to be unsummoned. Up in the top, we're very, very secure here, and the last push of Tzeentch is on. Sterling's Revenge fighting tooth and nail. Deathjacks are also another staple for the Empire. Not every matchup, but if you're playing against factions that have a fair amount of light armor, I can't tell you how many times I've summoned the Deathjacks on a side objective using Vanguard, and they're just sitting there with like a chaff unit that doesn't have a lot of armor, and the Deathjacks can just shoot them off. Their DPS isn't insane, but having Vanguard and being a relatively cheap unit at only 500, I think is good. I mean, I guess arguably you could go Huntsman for 650, but they are a cheaper price point. And what other unique abilities do the Deathjacks actually have? Yeah, they have Snipe. Okay, so they can stay hidden. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I do like that. So, side objective is controlled. That's going to be it. GG, well played to my Tzeentchian opponent. And again, this was a tournament game, and it was a pretty competitive opponent for sure, as far as the brackets and records and all that go. But really, KAIROS getting owned was probably the backbreaker. Like him getting blasted in the beginning and then coming back for more later on and getting the dirty. Sunmaker's crazy good though. But remember, it got 2,500 value, okay? But it costs 1,800 gold per summon. So, like, it came out twice. Like, yes, it still was very impactful, but to truly pay for itself, it would need 3,600. However, if you do unsummon it after it uses its ammo, you do get a substantial refund. So, if I did unsummon it the first time, I can't remember, then it probably really, really paid for itself. So, Crossbowmen got owned. That was very sloppy play on my part. Ziltner's Reichsguard were great. And, yeah, Free Company are nice against each too. They can do well against, like, blues and pinks and things like that. But, yeah, I think, again, KAIROS is, he's not bad. I'm trying to think, like, yeah, probably just going for, can Tzeentch bring Pit of Fun? I think they can, right? Can't they bring Pit of Fun? Yeah, it's so devastating against Empire, because Empire, you charge with heavy cav, and they all blob up, and that just kills them, and then it's so good against your value shooting pieces, too. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what they would do aside from that, but I did like the build. Like, armor is always tough to deal with. We managed to kill them over time. Sunmaker did the job, and oh, there was even some Chosen in there. That's badass. Definitely the Marauder Horsemen are very annoying for Tzeentch too. GG, well played. We'll see you guys next time. Take care of yourselves, and that is going to be it for today.